Help, please. My mom. She's not waking. The boy stumbled through the crowded airport, small hands trembling, tears streaking his face. People passed by, oblivious while every second counted. His terrified voice pierced the chaos, a desperate plea for someone, anyone, to act before it was too late. The airport buzzed with rolling luggage, distant announcements, and hurried footsteps. Among the travelers, Marcus Whitman walked briskly through Terminal 4. A billionaire known for his calm authority and polished presence, he had a flight to New York, a meeting that could define the next chapter of his company, and a schedule leaving no room for surprises. Dressed in a tailored navy suit, his shoes clicked on the polished tiles, the picture of control, until life reminded him that even the wealthiest were not immune to the unpredictable. A sudden announcement blared. Flight 422, New York bound, was closing at Gate 17. Marcus quickened his pace, scanning the crowd, calculating the distance to the gate. But as he rounded a corner near a cluster of shops, he froze. A small figure broke free from the crowd, running straight toward him. The boy, no older than 7 or 8, backpack bouncing against his back, eyes wide with urgency, cried out, "Please, help me!" Marcus instinctively bent down, professional composure giving way to concern. "My mom! She's not waking up!" The boy sobbed, clinging to Marcus like he was a lifeline. Flight schedules, meetings, obligations, all of it vanished in the face of the child's raw fear. A mother not waking in a busy airport was a problem no amount of wealth could solve with a phone call or a private jet. "Where is she?" Marcus asked gently. The boy pointed toward a quiet seating area near the gates. Together, they wove through the terminal, past baggage claim, toward the mother. She was slumped in a wheelchair, sweat glistening faintly on her skin. A small crowd had gathered, but no one acted. Marcus knelt beside her, checking for consciousness. Her pulse was faint. Panic rose, but he masked it with determination. Action mattered more than fear. The boy's mother, perhaps in her mid-30s, was black, her hair neat, her face pale and slack. Hesitation lingered among bystanders. Fear of liability, or the unconscious bias that sometimes left black families overlooked. Marcus did not hesitate. He instructed someone to call 911, then began CPR, recalling training from a recent executive course. The boy trembled, gripping his arm. "Please, she can't die," he whispered. "I won't let that happen," Marcus said firmly. The child searched his face for hope, and Marcus felt the weight of responsibility. In that moment, he realized that dignity and humanity mattered far more than any boardroom or meeting. Minutes later, which felt like hours, paramedics arrived. Marcus stepped back but stayed close, keeping the boy in sight. The child buried his face in Marcus's jacket, sobbing quietly. The paramedic nodded. His mother's pulse was stabilizing. Relief washed over Marcus, tempered by exhaustion. Thank you so much," the boy whispered, clutching his hand. "You were brave," Marcus said softly. "You stayed calm and got help. That courage helped save her." The boy's eyes shone with gratitude. Marcus realized that moments like this, not contracts or stock prices, defined life's true impact. After the ambulance departed, Marcus stood still. Flight 422 had closed, his schedule impossible to recover, yet he felt no regret. Saving a life carried a weight no business meeting could replicate. Will she be okay?" the boy asked, voice small but urgent. "She's going to be okay," Marcus reassured him. "Your bravery helped make that happen." They sat together on a bench, waiting for the paramedics' follow-up. Marcus observed the boy's pride and resilience, the depth of courage revealed in a single moment. Reflecting on his own life, Marcus realized how often he had chased wealth and recognition without seeing the human stories behind the rush. True impact came from compassion, courage, and dignity, not titles or power. When the paramedics returned, confirming the mother would recover, the boy ran to her, hugging her tightly. Marcus felt a warmth he rarely experienced. The mother looked at him, tears brimming, gratitude overflowing. "You saved my son's life, you saved mine," she said softly. Marcus shook his head. We all did what we had to do. You stayed calm, he stayed brave, and we acted together. That's what mattered. As they parted, Marcus felt a tug at his conscience. Flight missed, schedules disrupted, yet he had gained something far more valuable. A reminder that life's richest moments come from serving others, acting when courage is needed. That boy had reminded him that wealth is measured not in dollars, but in lives touched, courage witnessed, and humanity preserved. Walking back through the terminal, Marcus scanned the crowd, heart still heavy. Most were unaware of the life-saving drama that had unfolded. The most important flights in life weren't taken in the sky. They were taken in moments of decisive courage, when standing up mattered more than looking away. By the time he reached his car, flight missed, schedule undone, Marcus felt a renewed sense of purpose. He had acted when it mattered most, not for recognition or reward, but because humanity demanded it. The boy's words echoed in his mind. Please help me, my mom. She's not waking. Power without compassion was empty. True dignity was measured in action when lives depended on it. Marcus smiled faintly, a rare, genuine smile. He had missed a flight, but found something far more enduring. Human courage, dignity, and the lives preserved in a single, decisive moment. Marcus left the airport that day, but the image of the boy's desperate face stayed with him, refusing to fade. The city's rush, the hum of his luxury car, even the weight of his achievements, all felt strangely insignificant. The boy's terrified voice echoed in his mind. Please help me, my mom. She's not waking. It carried urgency, fear, and raw humanity. A reminder that no amount of power could replace the need for immediate action. The next morning, Marcus realized he could not return to his routine. Board meetings, conference calls, deadlines, they all felt hollow. The encounter had cracked open a part of him he had long ignored. True influence came not from wealth or title, but from courage and decisive action when someone's life hung in the balance. He thought of the mother's pale face, the boy clinging to him, and the hesitation of bystanders. That awareness carried both responsibility and resolve. Discreetly, Marcus contacted the hospital and arranged to visit the family. When he arrived, the boy's face lit up, wide with recognition and relief. Marcus knelt to meet him at eye level. You were brave, he said. You didn't give up. That courage helped save your mom. The mother, now steady on her feet, offered a warm smile. You saw us when no one else would. You acted. That saved both our lives, she said, her voice thick with emotion. Marcus shook his head. The real hero is your son. He reminded me of what matters most. Life is fragile, and courage and compassion define our choices more than money ever could. Over the following weeks, Marcus's perspective shifted. He no longer measured success by profits or accolades but by impact, by moments where small actions created enormous consequences. The story of the child's bravery quietly spread through the community, inspiring others to step forward, to act, and to recognize the value of life in every situation. Marcus understood that true wealth lay in the lives one touched, the courage one witnessed, and the dignity one preserved. He also reflected on the forces that had almost allowed tragedy. Bystanders hesitated, fear of liability held them back, and unconscious biases lingered. Marcus realized that influence carried a moral imperative, to act when others would not, and to ensure dignity and safety were never conditional. Months passed, but the memory of that day remained vivid. Marcus invited the boy and his mother to a quiet luncheon, not as a display of wealth, but as recognition of courage and humanity. They shared stories, laughter, and reflection. He observed the mother's pride, the boy's resilient spirit, and felt something rare. Connection without status, judgment, or power. These bonds, forged in crisis, were stronger than any business alliance. Inspired, Marcus funded programs to teach life-saving skills to children in underprivileged communities, emphasizing courage, resilience, and responsibility. Every act of bravery, no matter how small, could ripple outward and change lives. Whenever he saw a child act to help another, he remembered the boy's wide, terrified eyes and desperate plea. That moment had transformed Marcus, and he wanted others to experience that same awakening. The boy's mother fully recovered, their gratitude enduring but never the point. Courage, dignity, and decisive action were what mattered. In a society that too often overlooked Black lives, their story became a quiet beacon of hope, showing that when fear is met with action and hesitation replaced by resolve, humanity thrives. By the year's end, Marcus's outlook had irrevocably changed. Boardroom victories felt hollow compared to the profound impact of human connection. The family remained part of his life, not out of obligation, but because they reminded him daily of what mattered most. Stepping forward when needed, valuing dignity, and acting without hesitation when lives were at stake. He often reflected on the day he missed his flight. At the time, it seemed like a disruption to a meticulous schedule. In truth, it had been a turning point. That moment reminded him that true wealth is measured not in dollars, but in courage, empathy, and the lives one touches. Every choice to act, every refusal to turn away, every acknowledgement of human dignity was more valuable than any business triumph. Even months later, as Marcus watched children playing, families rushing, and strangers passing by, the boy's voice echoed in his mind. "Please help me, my mom. She's not waking." That cry had reshaped his priorities, anchored his decisions, and defined his approach to influence and responsibility. The world could remain indifferent, harsh, and unfeeling, but Marcus had discovered a truth more enduring than power or money. Courage, compassion, and dignity create a legacy far beyond wealth. That encounter had transformed him forever. He understood that the most meaningful flights are not those taken through airports, but those taken through moments of decisive action. Moments where fear gives way to bravery, and humanity refuses to be ignored. In quiet reflection, Marcus smiled, a rare, genuine smile. Flight missed, schedule undone, but a life saved. Courage witnessed, dignity honored, humanity preserved. In that fleeting yet eternal encounter, he realized the truest measure of a life well lived. The ability to see, act, and protect others when it matters most.